Would certainly want to get it from him, but maybe while we wait, Willie, you can just give a quick TLDR for the audience of like what Honeyswap is, and then we can let him give a higher level overview once he's back.
Cool. So Honeyswap is a fork of Uniswap, and it's deployed on XDAI. XDAI is a sidechain to Ethereum, and it was one of the first sidechains, if not the first sidechain for Ethereum launched. So it's EVM compatible. You can do all the stuff that you can do on Ethereum. You can deploy those same contracts on XDAI, and then you can use them for a fraction of a penny as opposed to the high gas fees that are on mainnet right now. So as many of you guys know, Colony is the tool that we were using, the protocol we're using to pay contributors from the DAO. And Colony is also on XDAI. So right now, if you contribute to the DAO, like so far we have Hunt and Giantkin were the first moderators to get paid on Colony. Now LPX and the Information and Globalization Workstream with Gray Machine are getting paid through Colony. And when you get paid through Colony, you get paid Fox on XDAI. And if you want to trade your Fox right now, their liquidity for Fox is all on mainnet. So you basically have no choice if you want to trade your Fox but to transfer your Fox from XDAI to mainnet, which can cost 0.01 ETH, and then over 0.01 ETH, and then trade your Fox on mainnet, which is also expensive, another expensive gas fee. So Honeyswap is awesome because it's on XDAI, right where Colony is, and it could give contributors a path to access Fox liquidity on XDAI without ever having to pay any mainnet gas fees. So that's Honeyswap, and one really cool thing about Honeyswap is that it's built and operated by the 1hive DAO, and 1hive is a really awesome DAO, very similar to Shapeshift in the sense that there's no central entity. Shapeshift moving towards this, so 1hive is definitely ahead of us in this regard because they started as a DAO from day one. But it's really cool because it's just a community of contributors all around the world who are, adding value to the 1hive ecosystem, building tools like Honeyswap in the 1hive wallet, and getting paid in honey. And I think 1hive is probably one of the coolest DAOs that I've seen that really shows that it's possible to build amazing open source technology and be successful without any central entity.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Willie. Monstrosity, do we have you now? Go ahead and try to speak.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we got you. Welcome.
Okay.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Awesome. This timing actually turned out to be not so great for me, but it'll work. I'll make it work. It's just some handing and transitioning taking place with the family. So, but that'll be okay. I've got Paul 2 and Solar here from 1hive also, if we want to pull them on board.
Sure. Yeah, if they can just if you're in the audience, just raise your hand. Yeah, I see one of them did, and we'll get you invited up. Got you both invited.
Cool. So I was stalling while we were waiting for you to get back, and I was doing my best to give an overview of Honeyswap and 1hive. Did you catch it, Monstrosity? And was there anything important that I left out?
No, I don't think so. But Paul can do a pretty good job of covering kind of our gardens and our DAO. And then Solar, he can do a pretty good job covering kind of our marketing team and like how we do collaborations and partnerships and how we work with other projects and our integrations there. I'm more on the DEX side of things, where I'm working with the Honeyswap partnerships and liquidity and funding and proposals and that kind of stuff, and just kind of initiating communication. So if they're on board now, yeah, I see them. Okay, so they can. Did you catch any of the early part, Paul or Solar?
Oh, yeah, I was listening to Willie Fox giving a brief introduction about Honeyswap and 1hive in a way. So yeah, thank you for the kind words, Willie. Really, 1hive started it's mostly it didn't started on XDAI. It started on Ethereum, but after the big the scalability issues of Ethereum and the huge gas fees, decided to deploy on XDAI because many applications that we use for governance are so dependent of gas, and it's it's too expensive just to run everything on Ethereum on chain, like a real hardcore governance model, like which is everything is on chain. So yeah, I'm mostly not like an expert for the technical stuff. I'm more into creative stuff, engaging community, contacting with contributors, and also I'm creative myself. I'm video editor. So yeah, happy to be here. And looks like I've heard about Shapeshift, and I mean I know it's you guys have great product here, and like I really like that you decided to be a DAO. That's fantastic. So I want to take much more time here. Just want to introduce myself. My name is Igor, or Solar, however you prefer to call me. And yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, Paul, if you want to go ahead as well, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'll do a quick intro on my background too. So I quit my job in April and went full time into DAOs pretty much the day I ended. And my personal interest in DAOs was DAOs for public goods, because that's kind of like my personal conviction in cryptocurrency, is that public goods are really not well handled by our economic system. And it's an area that cryptocurrency can really improve on a lot. So when I was doing my research on initial DAOs, I was looking at Gitcoin and Token Engineering Commons, and these are crypto projects that have been working on public goods for a good while. But then that led me to 1hive, and I did not know anything about DAOs when I came to 1hive, and I was like kind of confused about the idea. I was like, okay, so it's an organization that doesn't have leadership. So how does that work? Like, who's in charge? Who's making decisions? And like, how do people get paid? I had a lot of questions, and I remember like early on seeing one of the people that was popping up a lot in the chats, Luke. He seemed like he knew some stuff, so I like messaged him and asked if I could talk to him, and we talked for a while, and like he helped me understand a lot of what was going on with 1hive and the DAO. And then like maybe a month later is when I like eventually realized that Luke is the guy who started 1hive and is like as involved as you can be in the DAO. And that, like, for me, that was kind of the first understanding of like, okay, this is a different type of organization where you don't actually have leadership. There actually is an even hierarchy in this organization, and everyone who wants to pitch in is pitching in. And there's obviously a lot of hurdles and inefficiencies that come up with that, but there's also a lot of stuff that becomes possible that has not been possible before when you have that type of organization structure. So I'm like 5 months in now. It's still a learning process every day, but it's unbelievably interesting. And there's a lot of work to be done in the DAO space, a lot of new tools that need to get built and tools that are getting built and getting used for the first time. But it's very interesting and exciting. So I'm hooked. I'll be doing this for a long time, I'm sure.
Love it. Yeah, once you go DAO, it's hard to go back to a traditional corporate job. I actually had a centralized Fox reaching out this morning who was already regretting their first day at a centralized job and was thinking that they want to come quit and come work for the DAO. So that was good to see.
Yeah, I think that's going to be something we'll see more of over time.
Totally. So yeah, 1hive, I think it's good. We want to talk about Honeyswap, but I think it's really relevant to talk about 1hive and everything you guys have learned as a DAO, because you guys really are pioneers. And Luke used to be part of the team at Aragon, right? He was helping Aragon build their DAO protocol before starting 1hive.
Right. Yeah.
And do you guys know kind of, I know, so yeah, 1hive, basically built a lot of your own DAO tooling and new styles of voting, like conviction voting. I'm pretty sure you guys built that. So can you talk about? Do you guys know? I know Luke's not here, but do you guys know kind of what the motivation was to start 1hive and what Luke thought that Aragon wasn't providing that DAOs needed?
Yeah. Yeah. So my understanding is that the 1hive model improved on like several different aspects of what Aragon was doing. So the conviction voting model is instead of doing a snapshot yes no voting, conviction voting lets you have multiple proposals that are running simultaneously. If you have governance tokens, you can stake your governance tokens towards multiple proposals at once. And staking really just means that you're voting to support a proposal with whatever your token holding is. So that model lets you do a few things that you can't do on Aragon. It lets you run multiple projects at once because you can have these things running in tandem. And also just what I've kind of noticed is that it creates a culture of like support where you're never rejecting someone's idea. Like you never have someone say like I'd like to do this project and you don't tell them no, you can't do that. You say I'm not supporting this because it doesn't have the right team or the idea isn't thought out very well or it's like needs more work on the idea or so like as a I guess I should probably go back on how conviction voting works, but so when a proposal in conviction voting gets made, there's okay, it's kind of complicated. When
One thing that helped me understand conviction voting is that the more funds you're requesting, the more voting power you need staked behind that proposal. And there's two ways that voting power is calculated, right? It's the amount of tokens staked, and then it's the length of time that those tokens are staked. Right.
Right. So the longer you put your tokens towards a proposal, the more value it accrues. The bigger the proposal, the more support it needs. The proposals don't necessarily expire. You can run a proposal as long as you want until the community gets enough support for it to be approved.
Cool. So I can see how compared to like yes or no voting, that gives you with just a flat quorum that's the same for every proposal. This can be more efficient and give you some more flexibility.
Right. And then there's an arbitration system called Celeste, and that's a kind of a decentralized jury where if a proposal goes through that's considered abuse or goes against the community guidelines, then it can be rejected. So that's kind of a fail-safe that prevents abuse of the system.
That's cool. So basically, 1hive built these new governance primitives for your own DAO, and then now you guys are launching gardens, right? Which would make all these different, basically everything you guys have built for your own DAO available to other DAOs if they wanted to implement conviction voting.
Right. And that is launching. That's right now. That's running on Rinkeby, and it's going to launch both on XDAI and Arbitrum. And it's very much plug and play. You as you set it up, you set the number of tokens you're going to start with, your initial token holders, your parameters for conviction voting, and it's set up both for communities that have a token already, and then if you don't have a token, you can also issue a token that gets created with your DAO. So it handles a wide variety of types of organizations.
That's awesome. Just so you guys know too, I am part of the team at Giveth. So one of the reasons I have so much knowledge around the gardens is that Giveth is one of the first projects that's basically right now in the testing phase on Rinkeby. And Giveth is planning to use the gardens for its DAO. So I'm a big fan of it, and I'm excited to learn more about it and see how it works with Giveth, because at Shapeshift all this DAO stuff is like evolving rapidly, right? And the DAOs that launched a year ago already, things like Snapshot have come out and have completely transformed the what it can look like to be a DAO and how these DAOs can work. So we purposefully set up our DAO stack in a way where if we wanted to switch out Snapshot for another protocol, we attempted to set it up so that we would have some flexibility there. So conviction voting does seem like a really, really cool evolution in decentralized governance.
Yeah, it very much allows for a purely decentralized DAO to function, and it's so decentralized, in fact, that some of the organizations that are setting up on gardens, the way that they're using it is that they're just putting a portion of their treasury towards their gardens DAO, and that's kind of a community-owned treasury where they don't have any control over how that funding is spent, because it's entirely up to the community on how to spend it. But that works well because you can kind of have a hybrid approach where maybe your management is more centralized and you want to keep control over how a larger portion of your treasury is spent, but you still have a way of empowering your community to do really cool things that they're excited about.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about conviction voting is that you actually don't need to, most of the time you don't need to support from the whales, from the big, let's say, from the big bags that have a lot of the token. Sometimes it can happen, and usually our seeds that have, like, let's say, more tokens, they don't want to, sometimes they don't want to get into votes just because of that. Because like conviction voting works, you don't need consensus from my majority to vote on it. You just need enough to reach that threshold, and you just need enough supporters, and it's also time weighted. The more the proposal stands with enough voting, there is like one threshold that you need to reach, and then it's like time weighted, and you need to wait for the time to pass, and proposal will pass automatically afterwards. So if the idea is interesting, if people see that, like if honey holders see that the idea is great, or any other DAO that's using conviction voting, then like they would be able to support it, and if enough conviction is there, it will pass. So that's the great thing about it. So it allows more creative proposals to pass in a way, and not necessarily doesn't have to be like huge, but yeah, like for sometimes we work more on let's say, either it could be like some kind of marketing promotion or anything like a campaign. So yeah, it's more flexible in my opinion, and it's more decentralized in a way because of that.
That's really cool. So if there was this right now, our governance process, like it's pretty much almost 2 weeks for anything to go from idea to actually getting funded. In conviction voting, if you have a smaller expense, an idea, or a smaller budget or bounty, is it possible for those types of things to get passed very quickly?
Yeah, no, not necessarily very quickly, but the less is the less people need for that proposal. Let's say if it's like smaller sum, it will pass more easily than a bigger sum. Actually, you need less amount of the token staked, in a way. So yeah, it. There is also another option like called abstain. So, for example, that can tweak the threshold either to be harder to pass or easier to pass for the proposals. So let's say if majority of holders are not satisfied with the current proposals, or they think that proposals are passing too fast, they can go and abstain. And then that is a kind of another option for them to, as opposed to calling Celeste, which is like a subjective oracle, which is like our dispute resolution system, which it's used to let's say if the proposal is how to say malicious, and we can use Celeste. So as opposed to that, you have the abstain function. But Celeste by itself is pretty much a very interesting like option, because you have stakers that are keepers, and they can stake honey to be in Celeste to resolve disputes, and that thing can be used not only for governance but for many other applications. So yeah, and everyone that has like honey can stake in Celeste and use that and be part of that juror team.
It's
So
pretty
it
cool.
can be used for curation, even like, for example, curating NFTs, or it can be used for prediction markets if there is any dispute afterwards. So things like that.
We do not yet have any dispute resolution system implemented. We were actually just talking about this yesterday, because we haven't had any disputes yet, but it's better to be prepared, because it's likely that eventually there may be some disputes, and it'll be great to have a dispute resolution system in place. And so Celeste is basically like, yeah, you could stake Fox and then basically sign up to be part of this pool to be selected for jury duty. And then when you get selected, then the jurors basically who token staked can decide the outcome of the dispute, basically. So do you need to, is Celeste, is it a standalone thing, or can you only use Celeste if you are also using a Gardens?
Celeste is like very much linked with the 1hive DAO, because all of the staked Celeste tokens are honey tokens. So yeah, right now it's linked to Gardens that way and is community wide. But that could maybe be something down the road that could be possible, is having Celeste be a plug and play system for other communities to use for their own token.
Yeah, I don't mean to do a plug for a YouTuber, but I did watch a YouTube video the other day. The Coin Bureau, that guy did a video on kind of governance in crypto, and he pretty much touched on most of the governance type pros and cons and issues that they're seeing today in crypto, with some of the governance models that are being used. And I thought he was literally talking about 1hive, one for one. Every topic he touched on, we're like, yep, we do conviction. Yes, we have a Celeste, which is a dispute resolution. Yes, we have, and just it's all on chain, and so he just does a pretty good job of covering all the things that you want in a crypto governance model, and he pretty much touches on everything that we've been working to build. So it's really neat to see. Unfortunately, he didn't mention 1hive, but it does do a good job of kind of why you need the certain things and what are those certain things we're looking for in a governance model. So if you guys are looking to do something like that, it's worth kind of doing those due diligence and looking at all the different pros and cons.
Sweet, I want to watch that. What was the name of the YouTuber?
There, I posted it in the chat.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. Something else that I think the 1hive does really well that, sorry, John, I saw you on mute, so if you have a question, I'll stop asking questions and pass it to you next. I thought it'd be really cool to dive into the organizational structure. I think you guys have something really unique and cool where it's pretty easy for a community member to come in and start contributing, and then get rewarded in honey. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, so we have a system called Source Cred that we use. Source Cred is a project that a team's been working on to develop a way to kind of on graph capture people's credibility through interactions with certain things. So the things that it's looking at primarily are Discord, Discourse, and GitHub. And so those are the three platforms that have been integrated with SourceCred. And based off of people's interactions, usually using like emojis to whether it be a discourse post or a Discord post, those emojis have weights. And with those weights, at the end of the epoch or whatever, if it's a week, we use a week. I think it updates on Sunday, and all those values get rolled into a calculation that distributes out a certain amount of cred, and that cred gets converted into whatever token that the team is distributing. So for 1hive, we distribute out something like 10 to 15 honey a week through this process. And so based off of the end of the week, whatever your cred ends up being totalized up to, that's your proportion of how much honey you would get for the week. It's also done on GitHub through pull requests, merges. There's quite a bit of flexibility in the sense that you can turn certain channels off in Discord, and you can turn some on. You can add more or less weight to certain channels or emojis. You can integrate people that have a certain like contributor role. So if you say that only the people that have this status, and you can figure out that status however you want, whether it's based off of the current cred that they've minted themselves or a role that is assigned to them manually, which is a little bit more centralized. We try to make it a little bit more autonomous. Ours is based off of the contributions and through the cred minting itself. You can get more weight to, or give more weight to your cred that you're producing or minting for the other individuals that you're liking their post to. So with that, obviously there's a lot of opportunity. You know, the challenge is like, how do you prevent gaming? And we've gone through this for a while now, and it's a difficult task. If you guys take something like that upon you guys, I think it is definitely a very, very, very good tool for creating a community. I don't know if I'm convinced yet that it's a good tool for getting work done necessarily, as far as like I think paying people through like a task or a project and scoping the project and doing payments through like a scope job is still, something that's going to be needed. I don't see us using source cred primarily for trying to do jobs, just because it's a little bit more kind of decentralized and a little bit kind of less coordinated. But for the little things like, hey, we need somebody to update the token list, there's always somebody available to update the token list on Honeyswap, because that's a PR. And if you do a PR, you're getting honey. And so it's these little tasks. It's really good for like supporting the little jobs. It's just trying to do a project. You still need some other method of payment. So pretty neat tool. I don't know if you guys have heard of Coordinate. That's another tool that's used in some of these projects for incentivizing work. And that's also worth looking into. We use that for our Tulip swarm, which is our Honeyswap swarm. And a swarm is just considered one of our sub DAOs of 1hive.
So I'd love to turn this just because we got about 30 minutes left on the call to talk a little bit about the potential proposal that I know that's been discussed a little bit with the community, a little bit on the forums for potentially incentivizing a Fox pool on Honeyswap, specifically on XDAI to start. Monstrosity, you had laid out some cool parameters around that. Would you mind kind of just going through that for the audience to get an idea of what that might look like?
Yeah, certainly. So, really, we do have like an application process normally for our farm, and we only put that in place so that we could kind of just have something available so that if people wanted to ask questions or kind of they had a place to go and kind of can initiate that discussion. That standard kind of process is essentially purchasing the farm token, and by purchasing the farm token, you get that farm token as rewards in return. That's kind of like the high level scope of it. Um, but we have worked a lot with different communities, more one on one, and we are flexible and we're open to kind of anything that the community wants to do. My understanding is that there appears to be a pretty, at least it seems to me that Fox wants to maybe use XDAI and take advantage of these low transactions, and wants to bring enough liquidity so that if funding is being done through XDAI, there's deep enough liquidity that payments can be moved in and out of the Fox token without much slippage. So with that, it sounded like there was a decent amount of support for providing some decent Fox token rewards for that. And so based off of that, we are a smaller DEX, but we are the largest DEX on XDAI. Just XDAI is kind of a smaller chain, as you guys already probably know. But we're open to doing any type of liquidity platforms that we need to kind of work together and bring in more rewards. So our comb token is our farm token, and we're kind of limited on how much we can provide there with that farm token because of the liquidity is a little bit shallow. But if we need to help bootstrap it with the honey token, which has a much deeper liquidity, it does look like there would be some support for doing that. We also have Agave, which is our lending and borrowing platform, which just went live earlier this week. And I think that's something that we can also help kind of integrate with Fox. It would require Fox to get a Chainlink Oracle connected so that we could add a token like that to our lending and borrowing platform. And then also Stake, we work pretty closely with that team. So, there's possible that we can kind of help incentivize with that as well. And I think the point that I was trying to make in that conversation about flexibility with Honeyswap is that all these projects are pretty well connected in the XDAI community. And so if there's a need there, or if there's partnerships that we've already established where it makes sense to kind of integrate, we try our best to try to pair those communities together and work together as a team rather than like individually, hey, we're Honeyswap and all we do is Honeyswap. I could care less about any of these other dexes. I mean, Elk Finance is another dex that we've worked with, and so we help each other out regardless of what the competitor in the traditional sense is, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to onboard people and grow the economy rather than trying to take pieces of the pie away. So so we're open to being flexible on what we can provide based off of like how much you guys would be able to provide. So if it's a smaller amount that you would incentivize, we could probably just incentivize it straight with the comb token. But if it's a larger amount, we have things that we can do to try to pull in other communities and other contributors to kind of help bootstrap the Fox community. I think at the end of the day, most of the community is aware of Shapeshift. If you've been in crypto long enough, you probably would know about Shapeshift, and so most of us have been in crypto for pretty long, so we know your community, and so it's for the most part pretty supported. I don't know of anyone pushing back on you guys, so it's kind of whatever you guys want to do. I think we can make something happen around just how big you want to go.
Yeah, remind me what stage that's on, Willie. I don't think it's moved to ideation yet, but I think it might be close.
Yep, that's right now just happening in the forum and in the a lot of the discussions happening in the partner Discord channel. I think that's right. Yeah, there's nothing in ideation for a Honeyswap liquidity program, and part of the reason there is that we're the proposal that is in ideation right now. We first want to make sure that we have a continuation of our initial liquidity mining program. We don't want to disrupt the great liquidity that we've built up on Uniswap on mainnet. But I think that the liquidity mining programs that have the next liquidity mining programs that have the most interest are Honeyswap, because there's a lot of interest in getting Fox liquidity on XDAI, as well as Bancor. We think Bancor, there's some interest in Bancor one-sided liquidity providing on mainnet. But yeah, I think basically the plan is that we wanted to chat with Honeyswap and introduce it to the community, and then I think we're ready to figure out what these parameters could look like, basically, and how much Fox we would want to incentivize, which pools we would want to incentivize, how long we would want to reward them, and also how we can partner with 1hive best to incentivize it from both sides.
Yeah, we have on XDAI, we probably have like 4 tokens, maybe 5 tokens at the most that we're closely connected with. So obviously XDAI is the native token, the native stablecoin token. So it's got the deepest liquidity. Ethereum would probably be second on that list. I believe XDAI has a little bit more liquidity than Ethereum, but I may be wrong. And then we have for the 1hive community itself, we have the Comb token. It's called XComb on XDAI, PComb on Polygon. And then when we go to Arbitrum, it'll probably be AComb. And then the Honey token, and Agave is the lending and borrowing platform, so the Agave token. So any of those pairs, and to be honest with you, even if you did pairs outside of those kind of 5, I think they would be open for conversation and support. Obviously, due to the recursive nature of farming a token that is paired with one of our community tokens, it's easier to give more rewards to it just because of the recursive nature of it. But I think just because coming to XDAI, we're always in support of just bringing liquidity and volume in general. So even if you select it kind of XDAI or Ethereum to be paired with, I think we could do some matching there as well.
Awesome. I'm a fan of the Fox and ETH pair. I think that would be my top choice for liquidity on XDAI. We're doing Fox and ETH on mainnet right now. Can you talk to the benefits of, like, would you guys recommend doing one pool and focusing our incentives on one pool to really concentrate liquidity there, versus doing 2 pools on Honeyswap, like maybe a Fox and ETH pool and a Fox and Honey pool? What would be your recommendation there?
So I don't know if I'm being biased here, but my recommendation is, yeah, it would be great if you guys partnered with one of our tokens and we would share some sort of liquidity matching or partnership where we're pairing up the tokens together. I think that would be great, and I think the community would really rally behind that and support that. And I think you'd see a lot more engagement around something like that. But I also believe that having a deep token pair is key, and because at the end of the day, if you're swapping between Fox and Honey or Fox and Agave or Agave and Fox and whatever route you're taking, a lot of times it'll go through those deepest pools, like the deepest liquidity. So if it's Ethereum and Fox, I wouldn't do like Ethereum Fox and XDAI and Fox. I would pick one of the two, whichever one you decide to go with. One of those two pairs should be selected. And then as far as like another community token, whether it be our XComb farm token itself or Honey or Agave or whichever one you want to use, just starting small is okay. I think you guys can like test the waters and see if you could get some minimal rewards going, and then maybe 60 days or 90 days out, we if Shapeshift is in support of additional fundings, maybe we can do something additional once we get maybe agave lending and borrowing going with you guys or something like that. We can do another round.
Yeah, that sounds great. I almost lean, since our main, my initial inclination really is the same as you, that about around Fox WETH, but because I know that this is mainly to be liquidity to make it easier for our contributors to basically be able to trade in and out of Fox if necessary. I'm almost wondering if XDAI might be a better choice, because probably a number of them are going to be trying to go to a stable coin of some type. But yeah.
So
I second that. Yeah, next dice
Yeah.
smart.
So I think you guys can go either way on it, and the reason why I say that is typically the impermanent loss on Ethereum Fox pair is going to be less, and so typically you can attract more people in that sense. But then you also have the same people that have the comfort of holding the XDAI or any type of stable coin and pairing it. So I think that's a long-standing argument on which one's better. But at the end of the day, like, you would be paying 0.3% swap fees if you're doing a 2-hop, right? It ends up being 0.6%. So if they're trying to move directly to XDAI, obviously a single hop is cheaper than a double.
Let's take it to the community. I think this would be a great thing to just add to a poll and forum post and just see from the community members, like, would they rather provide liquidity to the Fox WETH or Fox XDAI pair, and similarly, understanding that if you're going to be doing
and there actually is a poll up, Willie. So I put a forum post in the stage chat. LPX started a poll on this, I don't know, maybe a week ago, 5 days ago, it looks like. So I would definitely ask everyone who's interested to go click on that forum link in the stage chat and go vote. Right now, WETH and XDAI and Honey are all tied, as far as I can tell.
Can I ask a question to clarify how this helps, like in our scenario here about getting paid on the XDAI network in Fox? There's some conversion has to happen from XDAI to mainnet. So how does it save to whether you do your trade on the XDAI network or on mainnet? Did that make sense? Did the question make sense?
Yeah.
I think I missed just like one or two words out of that statement. So I think you're asking, what's the difference of just doing this all on Ethereum mainnet versus XDAI and then bridging it to mainnet?
Yeah, I mean, we got to bridge at some point. If you're getting paid on the XDAI network, my understanding is you're going to have to bridge to mainnet to be able to send to, Coinbase or whoever to get your US dollars. So why does it matter where you do the trades?
So no, that's not entirely true. So you don't have to bridge to mainnet, depending on where you're located, what country you live in. It varies, but all the side chains are connected, and so you can bridge between Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, AVAX, Arbitrum, XDAI. All those side chains, Heco Chain, all those side chains are connected, and there are centralized exchanges that are connected to those side chains, like Binance. Another one is Bitfinex, which I think changed their name to Ascendex or something like that. I think there's a couple others. I don't really use those centralized exchanges very much. I don't pull anything off of crypto. I stay on here and just keep on reinvesting. But I understand the need to want to be able to make payments and to sustain house payments and things like that. But I think my point is there are, you don't have to go to mainnet. The other thing is if you do choose to go to mainnet for whatever reason, you can still stay on XDAI and make multiple transactions and do each one of those transactions is cheap, and then batch once a month you're across the bridge, and then you can select when you want to do that batch based off of watching the gas fees. When the gas fees come down, that then you move some money over to Ethereum if you want to, and so you have the flexibility of going to mainnet when you want to go to mainnet if you have to go to mainnet, which you don't have to. So I hope that clears that up.
Let me give another example, Josh, where I think this would be useful to DAO contributors. Is like right now, you would need to basically get your Fox, do a bridge transaction to the mainnet, so that that's one expensive gas fee, and then you'd have to do another mainnet trade, which is another expensive gas fee. So if you just assume that even just the trade is eliminated, so you do your swap through XDAI on Honeyswap on XDAI, and then you have just the one bridge transaction. Now you have a stablecoin on mainnet that you could just send somewhere and potentially trade out of into USD. Now, obviously, if you need to go to another stablecoin, that will be another trade. But even like what he just said, the batching, if like you could trade basically into the stablecoin a couple times a month, and then just do the one bridge transaction and one trade. And one way or another, you have an option now to save on some expensive gas fees, especially when some of those gas fees could be, $100, $200 a trade, like they are at times when the NFTs are going crazy.
Yeah, I see it that even if you just do the trade on the XDAI network, you're saving fees in the trade. Then you're still going to mainnet, but you're not doing the trade on mainnet, which saves you in fees right there. So
exactly. So there's
Yeah, and I don't know if you've used XDAI much, but one thing that I learned when going to XDAI is I became a lot more experienced with crypto in the sense that on mainnet you can't try things because there's this huge fee burden. On XDAI, we get a lot of people saying, "What if I do this or what if I do that?" And the answer is, well, just send 0.0001 XDAI and see what happens. I mean, worst case that happens is you cost yourself less than a tenth of a penny in fees. So you can do transactions to and from different wallets. You can move stuff around. You can do swaps. You can do a lot of those activities on XDAI without having to pay the fees of Ethereum. So you get to you have the flexibility of doing pretty much anything you want to do and learning a lot from it. And so
I would.
Go ahead.
Sorry, continue, Monster, if you're not finished. I was just going to add something.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, one interesting thing is like you don't even have to go back to mainnet because we have certain bridges. One of the bridge is Expollinate that 1hive worked with Connext, and now we are working together with Lee Finance to have like that's coming in next months probably. I'm not sure. We're not sure to it, but we'll have cross-chain swaps. So one of the things about the cross-chain swaps, it lets you move through the other side chains, which is also with minimal fees, without without much effort. It's very quick, and there is Binance, for example, is connected to Polygon. You can deposit from Polygon to Binance Matic, for example, directly without going to mainnet. And on XDAI, you can deposit XDAI directly to Ascendex, where you can just also withdraw to fiat afterwards, or you can go to. I mean, you can use them like that. So yeah, there are options, and that's good about XDAI. When we started, there were no options like this, but right now, lately, there are more and more options popping up, and maybe even Coinbase will add some support for the sidechains soon.
Right. Interesting. So that Ascendex, you can deposit XDAI there and turn it into fiat. I did not know that. That'd be a way to keep it completely for those of us who are getting paid that need to pay our house bills, as Monstrosity said. That'd be a way to do that completely on the XDAI network. If we had a Fox to XDAI pool on Honeyswap and then had an Ascendex account, that's interesting. Okay, thanks.
Sure, sure. You're welcome. So yeah, either XDAI, yeah, there is that option. From Ascendex, you can send it, I guess, to the one caveat of that is like if you wanted to from XDAI to DAI, then they also do KIC for if it's larger sum, but still like there are options. For example, if you want to go from XDAI to USDT, you need to swap. You need to exchange that on the actual exchange Ascendex. So yeah, because I'm not sure if it's like if you can withdraw directly XDAI afterwards to fiat. But I think ramp, which ramp is also interesting. We added to our Honeyswap page. They're I don't know if you heard about them, but they're like you can deposit fiat to XDAI directly through ramp. And they also mentioned that they are testing the possibilities to add USA to be able to do that. Previously, it wasn't, but they also want to do off ramp as well. So I'm not sure if they are done with that, but possibly there is that option. So ramp is ramp network.
That's a really good point. Solar is this could also, once ramp does add support for United States to on ramp, it could give, if we have Fox liquidity on XDAI, can also give us a path for new users to basically go from fiat to XDAI to Fox without ever paying any mainnet gas fees. That would be super cool as well.
Yeah, and I want to just throw in there, so like the stable coins that are most commonly used are like the USDT, USDC. XDAI is the Baker DAO collateralized token, DAI, and then that DAI is bridged over to XDAI, and it's called XDAI. We have wrapped XDAI, same concept as what you have with like the Ethereum and Ethereum, but a lot of people aren't as familiar with DAI, but it's no different essentially. Like on face value, it's a stable coin, but we do XDAI does have Curve also. So swapping between stable coins are not is getting better on XDAI, and so even if you want to swap into USDT or USDC on XDAI, you have that as an option. So you don't have to go stick with just XDAI, although it's the deeper liquidity stablecoin.
Yeah, great point. So we've only got 5 minutes left. I'd love to open up to just any other questions specifically on this around the community. We'll have a little more time in our governance call later today. And I really appreciate the Honeyswap team joining and giving all this great information today. You guys are welcome to join our governance call. We might have a little more time to discuss it then, but now's a great time. If anyone in the community has any questions on this, to raise your hands, or anyone else on stage, if either DeFi Cafe or Marley or Willie, if you got anything else.
Yeah, it looks like. I was just gonna say, it looks like I just pulled up the forum. It looks like there's some votes on the target liquidity, and then also the tokens. And yeah, Honey, Ethereum, and XDAI are all kind of tied for the same as far as token pairs, which are desired to be incentivized.
Yeah, great. I'd encourage everyone here, again, visit that link in the forum and make your opinion known through that poll, because there was only a few votes on there. So I'd love to get more votes and get more thoughts from the community on which one you want to see the DAO target first.
I was just going to add that, since I think this has been stated, but like since we are using Colony on XDAI, anything we can do to stay on these side chains. The closest thing I had found is like Colony is on XDAI, and then you can go Fox to, there's like an off ramp on Polygon. There's a lot more on ramp options, but the off ramp is for paying my bills. I gotta have USD. So yeah, I think this is like, since we're committed to Colony, if we can get any kind of liquidity on Honey, that will add a huge opportunity for us to save on gas, and especially if we can stay away from mainnet. That's awesome, even more awesomer to just avoid the $200 $200 in gas fees just on that bridge sometimes is intense.
Hey, Marley, are you saying that if we can swap to XDAI on this network, then we can use Polygon to connect to the XDAI network for
Correct. So there's a Polygon XDAI bridge that's nearly free, if not free, if you want to call it that, as opposed to XDAI to ETH is going to be a lot of gas fees. If you can stay on these side chains, you're paying almost none, like negligible gas.
Right.
So the ability to if you can pull off like an off ramp on these side chains, you can retain more of your salary. If you're getting paid in Fox, you don't want to be losing 10% of that to gas.
What do you do once you're on Polygon?
I haven't gotten down this rabbit hole, but what my research showed that there is an exchange off ramp. So if you could do Fox to XDAI, you're on a stable coin, and then take XDAI and move that to Polygon, you should be able to get USD on the Polygon network.
And you don't necessarily need to even go to Polygon. Like we talked about S-Index, and hopefully there'll be even more exchanges that offer direct XDAI support. But your point is still very valid, that you can go to Polygon and you can do all sorts of cool stuff on Polygon. You can basically, it's like all the fun stuff that you can do on Ethereum mainnet. You can do pretty much all that stuff on Polygon, but for cheaper. So you can, borrow crypto, lend crypto, buy NFTs. Like OpenSea just added support for Polygon. So the cool thing is that you can do all the fun stuff that you'd like to do on mainnet, but without ever having to pay any of those expensive mainnet gas fees.
Yeah, if you want to go to cash out from Polygon, let's say, you need more hoops, more swaps to do, but that's just it. Like you will need to use Xpollinate, let's say, to go from XDAI to Polygon. Either that's one of the, for now, that's one of the stable coins, USDC, XDAI, and USDT. And then on Polygon, you need to swap to Matic. And then from Matic, the only way is you need to deposit Matic on Binance and make sure you select, of course, the Matic sidechain there, because they added that. And that's it. Like you would need to still buy Matic, and then so on XDAI it's faster in this. But yeah, there definitely, like, Polygon is also very interesting to explore. So that's just another option in Plus.
Great. So we're getting to the end of the hour now. I'm gonna have to go here, but if anyone else wants to keep the discussion going, they're welcome to. It's up to you, Willie, Marley, DeFi Cafe, Josh.
I'm satisfied. I think next step is go vote on the forum for what you think is appropriate. And my brain would be probably XDAI, unless I'll go read and have a more educated guess.
Yeah.
To XDAI too. But yeah, I think it's a good call to action. Like, great. The best next step is for everyone to go look at that forum post who is interested in, who has some strong feelings about this, and vote. And then the sooner we can get some clear signaling from the community, the sooner we can advance this to an actual proposal.
And yeah, I think I saw it in stage chat. Yeah, I am jealous of your Binance access. Most of us are in the US, and that's just not an option. So
Yeah. Great. Well, I just want to thank the Honeyswap team, Monstrosity, Paul, Solar. You've all been great. And we, I think as a community, we're looking forward to engaging more in this discussion and pushing it forward in governance, and hopefully working with you all on many things. I'm also really excited about the idea of getting Fox on Agave. So hopefully that's something else we can figure out over the coming weeks. But yeah, we'll just we'll stay in touch. We'll move the governance process forward, and just really, really thank you for all your involvement. It's been great.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure to get to know you guys and your community, and thank you for this chance. Also, we appreciate that you're interested, and we're looking forward to collaborate more, whether that be liquidity or marketing or any kind of really ideas, any kind of that can be even we made some kind of promotional coordinated promotional efforts with other projects, but we are kind of exploring those ideas too. So feel free to message me if you have. We will stay in touch about this for sure. Yeah, and I'm available if you want to message me or ask about social medias on 1hive and how we can promote each other in a way, our communities, and make people know more about us together. That would be awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone. Gonna shut down the stage now, but yeah, looking forward to talking. And for anyone else who's listening, just a reminder that the DAO does have our community governance call, our weekly community governance call at 5 p.m. Eastern today. So I hope to see all of you there. Thanks all. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.